Welcome to Catherine Bureau Show. Today, I have my dear friend Ceri Samvilian here with me. She is an Erickson Certified solution-focused life coach, a speaker on the topic of how to find your authentic self and dare to be you, and has 25 years of being an adamant journal. She is dedicated to inspire and empower you to achieve your full potential and live the life you truly want to live by showing up as your authentic true self. Her mission is to support her clients to gain a deeper relationship with themselves and unlock the amazing person who can have the freedom to achieve their highest purpose. She's a self published author of her first book, Journal and Discover Your Authentic Self, a personal development journal with the purpose of taking you through a unique step by step journey of self discovery. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you here with me.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's so amazing to be with you.
As I mentioned before we started, you are a pure sunlight. And I can feel that like with all my heart, with all my being. And I'm sure people who are listening or watching us will feel the same. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you so much. You said that, I think it's our connection, which even the first time we met, we instantly had this instantaneous connection. So I'm just grateful for that. It's not all the time that you meet people you connect with. So
That's
thank you. I'm doing
that's true.
fantastic.
That's true. Well, like soul sisters, I can feel that, right? Right.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about your story, how everything started, and then we will dive deeper to this wonderful book of yours.
Okay, so for me, I'm Kenyan, born and
Mm-hmm,
raised, but I moved to Austria
mm-hmm,
and I got into the corporate world. But after a while, after doing what I was supposed to do, meaning getting a job, having kids, getting married, getting a job, having kids, and all of that, you reach a certain age and you're like, okay, I need to understand what my purpose is. Why am I here? Because it can't be only this. Because the
exactly.
list of goals is finished. So there must
What
be something.
next?
What next? And I'm a believer. I am spiritual, and I
Mm-hmm,
believe that every soul has a purpose.
mm-hmm,
And I had kept asking myself, what is your purpose? What is my purpose? I need to understand. And with time and with this journaling thing, that I realized only much later was my little secret, or was my little weapon,
mm-hmm,
helped me discover that the reason why I'm here is to serve others, is to help them be better versions of themselves.
mm-hmm,
But first, to do that, they needed to understand who they were. And this is where authenticity came in.
mm-hmm,
And the way everything lined up for me, is the reason why I do what I do. And I try to help others because I feel like we all go through this phase where we ask ourselves, is this all there is for me?
mm-hmm,
And it doesn't matter what age you are, it doesn't matter what career experience you've had, you can always switch it to what makes you happy, as long as you want to do the work. So for me, I then began doing this life coaching, a certificate, and I loved it so much. And then I realized I have this thing that I enjoy doing, which is journaling.
mm-hmm,
And it's important. And people need to, there must be a way I can express it so that other people can use it the
mm-hmm,
way and see the magic the way it has been for me. And
mm-hmm,
this is how I created the book. I decided to combine coaching
mm-hmm,
with journaling. So
mm-hmm.
you can just literally coach yourself as you go through the journal, which is, I think, the utmost thing that everybody should be doing, coaching yourselves. Because if you don't want the change, nobody can make the change for you.
Oh, that's so true and so beautiful. That's like, when you were speaking, it was just like I'm watching myself in the mirror and, and telling the story. At one point in our life, we definitely step at that like stone, like what's next? Who am I really? Why I am here? And then we start questioning. You mentioned authenticity. What is authenticity for you?
So for me, authenticity is the moment you feel free enough to be who you want to be, and
Mm,
not what other people expect you to be.
mhm,
So it's you discovering who you who what is important to you,
mhm,
what your values are, what makes you tick,
Mhm.
and not being afraid to show it.
Mhm.
Because what happens, Catherine, is we as human beings, and this is what we do, we wear masks
Mm.
and we hide behind those masks. And sometimes we wear those masks so well that we forget who we are when we take off those masks.
Yes.
We don't even recognize our true selves anymore.
Mhm.
And that's why, for me, authenticity is not a destination, it's a journey,
Mhm.
because it takes you some time, just like you getting used to as you get older, a baby getting used to walking,
Mhm.
you getting used to driving a new car or starting to drive, or you getting used to being in a new job. You do have to get used to being yourself again.
Mhm.
And this is the other tricky thing.
Mhm.
Every 10 years we change. Who you are when you're 10 years old is obviously not who you are when you're 20, or who you are
Absolutely.
when you're 30 or 40. And for me at that time, when I was turning into 40, because this is where I think change happens,
Exactly.
I had to relearn who I was.
Mhm.
I had to understand who I had become,
Mhm.
because you have gone through a lot in your life. You have learned a lot about yourself. Life has taught you a lot. You've gone through a lot of experiences. You are not the same. Don't believe that you're the same. You're not. So taking the time to rediscover that authentic self
Mhm.
actually is a powerful tool, because then do you realize what your true purpose is, what
Mhm.
it is that you want to do to move forward in your life, what truly makes you happy.
Mhm.
And sometimes this is what we call, I think, going through your midlife crisis, or going through this, sometimes people go through like an oomph. I don't know what it is. I don't know, I just have a dark cloud under me. Yeah, because you stopped. You stop
Yes.
learning, you stop growing,
Yes.
and we forget that we as human beings, instinctively,
Mhm.
we need growth.
Mhm.
We need it. That's how we've been. That's why we as a generation, or this generation, has become so advanced, because we want to grow. But
Mhm.
you can't. And I think what depresses us is we see other people growing and then we are not growing.
Mm.
And then you feel like, okay, I don't fit into this world anymore. But it's
Mhm.
not about that. Being authentic is just accepting who you are and letting the world see you as you are, and let whoever accepts you for who you are, those
Mhm.
are the true people who are supposed to be there. Those are the true relationships. That's the real work you're supposed to be doing. And by finding that thing, your life changes. It completely changes, becomes something else.
I couldn't agree more. It is so powerful, and I'm so glad that you shared this, because when that transformation takes place, and as you mentioned, it's a journey, actually life becomes much more easier. It's easier to be who you truly are. It's so wonderful. We actually share similar missions, just we work from different angles. I'm helping people to do what they love, and you're helping people to do who they are. And
Yes,
that's the same. Like,
exactly.
be who you truly are. Commit to do what you truly love, and you will grow. And
Yes.
that's what I lived. Like, I'm 40 now. So yeah, the transformation took place, but still I want to move forward. So when we talk about personal growth, one of my favorite topics, why is journaling so important?
There are so many benefits. So as I've been doing this, I have
Mm.
been not just finding the benefits, but even the scientific benefits. These days,
Mm-hmm.
there have been a lot of cases been done, a lot of psychological cases have been compiled to understand what writing. Journaling is just writing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really just that.
Mm-hmm.
But what it does is, and why it's important, is because one, it helps with your mental health.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing, we as human beings, we always take care of our physical health. We make sure we go see the doctor. We
Mm-hmm.
make sure we go see the dentist.
Mm-hmm.
And we do all these things, but we forget that we have to take care of our mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And how that helps is journaling helps you experience or let your feelings be
Mm-hmm.
heard as you write. And when you do that, when you express yourself, because most of the time, or sometimes, we're not able to express ourselves to other people the way we would like to, because we're afraid.
Mm-hmm.
We're afraid of what people will think about. This is why we wear the masks. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fear in that, and we're afraid of that. And But when you journal, it's like a space where you can just write and be yourself. And that helps you because you can imagine how many thoughts we have in a day. I think it's 8,000 and 9,000 thoughts a day. And if you don't have a place to keep those thoughts or to let them go, you can, no wonder we go crazy sometimes with problems and issues. But when you let it through, it's like a balloon blowing up. And when you journal, you just compress all of what is happening and you write it down. And just by writing, you have solved more than 50% of whatever it is that is going on. One, because you've expressed it. Two, because you have, as they say, when you can only see the light, I mean, you can only see darkness when you press the light. And when the darkness is whatever it is that you're going through. Writing down is you putting the light on whatever it is. And when you see it, then you can solve it. And that's where you're helping with your mental health. The other thing that journaling, the benefits of journaling is, journaling, which is so wonderful, is it helps you become like, you start unlocking little parts of yourself. And when you start doing that, it's like you go through an experience, and when you write about it, your learning effect of that experience is a completely different thing. Sometimes we go through something and you understand it was a difficult time, or you understand something happened at that moment. But when you take your time to write it down and understand it, this is when you start growing. This is when you start learning. This is when you start analyzing yourself. There's somebody an old time ago, this somebody called Jim Rohn. He speaks a lot about he's a self-development in the olden days, but he said something that is so important. He said that you are what you think about. And this is one of the things that triggered me, because if I am what I think about, then what am I thinking about, Catherine? Because that's who I am. How am I going to find out what I'm thinking about? That's what journaling does. It helps reveal who you are and what you're thinking about. And when you know what you're thinking about, then you know what it is that you need to maybe add to yourself. You know, okay, I need to take this part out. I think I'm a bit too negative. I look at things in a certain way, and I didn't realize I'm always saying the wrong things that are going on with my kids or with my husband or with my friends or at work. Or the only reason I'm not getting along with people is because all I see is the negative. And every day, that's all I'm writing. What about if I try to see something different? How about if I see things differently? And then you observe yourself. You have like this intimate conversation with yourself. And that's the authentic part of you that's talking. Because there's no barriers. There's nothing there. There's nobody stopping you from expressing yourself or being who you are, right? And that's how now you can now focus on, okay, so this is what's happening in my life right now. What can I add to it? What can I bring in? How can I help myself? Who do I need to reach out to? And that is where your growth happens, right? So it has all these benefits, and express it. And I even started getting my daughter to do it, which is amazing. Even though she's so young, she would see me with all these books, and she's always like, "Mom, why do you have so many books?" I'm like, you know, I write so much sometimes. I think I have too much to say. I don't know. I just write a lot. And then she started picking up. And one day she was going through, she's a little, not teenage yet, but she's getting there. And she's going through these things. And I told her, you know what, why don't you, this is a great time to write. Just, you know, write. And she's like, oh, I don't know. And, you know, I leave it alone. Then one day I come into her room and the girl is just writing. I'm like, hey, what are you up to? No, I'm just journaling. I was like, oh, okay, excuse me, I'm sorry. And I left her, and she was just, and I was like, my baby is growing. She's understanding herself. She's taking a time to pause and think about what it is she's going through. Imagine planting that seed, Catherine, in little kids at that age, at 12, 13 years old, learning how to observe yourself and trying to correct whatever is going on with you and creating that space for you and not thinking, I need to do what my peers think I need to do, or I need to go where they go or whatever, but centering yourself. It's
And
an
there is
amazing
something,
skill.
there is something magical when we write down something. it becomes physical. It's not just the thoughts go run around these hectic times, but when you write down something, and I love journaling, and you know what I love, going back to see what I was thinking about the specific situation before. And sometimes it's funny. It's kind of, really, girl, you thought that?
Yes.
Like, really?
Who was
You
this person?
exactly, you can follow your own growth, and it places you in a present moment where you feel safe to express yourself, to discover who you truly are, and to really choose your path. And that's
Yes.
what I love. I will tell an anecdote. When I was about, age of your daughter, maybe a little older, and I was journaling back then. But my brother stole my journal.
You see, this is the thing. So I told her to hide it. I don't
Uh-huh.
want to know where you hide it. I don't know what you want to do with it, but you better hide it and make sure nobody. And one time I saw it running around. I was like, here, take it, put it away. That's your thing.
Exactly. That's
It's important.
personal. That's
That's
personal.
personal.
Yes.
That's your
He
space.
was he was very young, and he took it away, and he was like, "Mom, she has another boyfriend." And I was like, "Really?" You know, just a
So be
joke.
careful with your journals. Keep them away. But
Yeah.
I like the way you said that it's a space also to, you can reflect back. The
Yes.
only way we know we're growing is also by seeing how far we have come.
Exactly. Exactly.
Sometimes we don't think we've come so far,
Exactly.
but because you documented it, just like a history book, we know what happened. You need to see how far you're growing so you can also feel good about yourself. Don't wait for somebody to help you, make you feel good, for somebody to tell you, oh, you have grown or you have changed. Don't wait for that. Do it for yourself.
Exactly. Let's dive deeper into your book. Beautiful book. Would you like to show it a little bit?
Yes, I'm
And
so excited about it.
tell us,
yes,
why is it so unique and specific?
one, I think the cover says it all. It's a very bright cover.
Like you
And
are.
the reason, exactly, the reason why, thank you. The reason why is because I made it, as I said, I've been journaling for so many years. And my thing is, I was thinking, if you want to have a journal that you're writing in month after month after month, it has to be something that, you want to open up, that you want to go to write on, right? So I said, let me make this book as, catching out that out of every other book that's around you, you will find your journal.
Yeah. It's very beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. And the reason why I chose this, because I don't know if you can see it, it's this, there's a woman there. And I love this, which signifies like my background, of course, which is the African, the pure background. And this is you. This is the reason why I put it here, because it's your journal, right? And what I did was I wanted people to understand that finding your authentic self is like a compass that directs you to you.
Yes.
And it helps you focus on you. And that's what this journal is about. It's about focusing on you, understanding who you are, and going through the steps to find that out, who that person is. And I can tell you, and this is what happens with every client that I ever have when I coach, is you are going to be so proud and happy about who you are. Because we sometimes don't take time to pat ourselves in the back. We don't take time to rediscover who we are, because we are amazing beings. We wait for others to tell us that we are amazing, or that we have something good, or that we did something. Do things for yourself and it's like taking the power back to your own side. Be the driver of your own car. Do not be on the passenger seat of your own life, right? Be on the driver's seat. And this is what this book does. It helps you be on that driver's seat. So what I did was, I realized that there's a lot to learn when it comes to personal development. There's a lot of topics that that we need to learn about, but it can be so simple. It doesn't have to be as difficult as we can put it, right? So I realized that we could start with little steps and little things that we can do. And what I did was, because when you have a journal, sometimes you just have pages, right? It's just empty pages that you write on. And what I thought was, as a life coach, I have a really cool key, and that is asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Questions are beautiful tools to use to open up what's happening with you.
Exactly.
When I can ask you a question,
Mm-hmm.
and because I asked you that question, you'll be like, I didn't think about it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize. If you didn't ask me that, I wouldn't have thought it in a different way. And this is what questions do. And as a coach, this is what I have been trained to do. And I love questions.
Mm-hmm.
And the more questions you ask, the more you discover.
Mm-hmm.
So this journal, instead of having just empty pages, it has steps that you go through. You go through learning how to have gratitude or say gratitude every single time. Every time you open your journal, gratitude should be a thing that you do.
Mm-hmm.
And why do we want to focus on gratitude? Because, as we said in the beginning, the world has all these crazy things going on, or your life has all these crazy things going on, and that's what we immediately focus on.
Yes, unfortunately.
What about if you woke up and this first thing you had to do was say, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this morning. I'm grateful for this day. I am grateful for my family or for breathing, whatever it is. And you start with that tone. And when you do that and you make it a habit of focusing on what you're grateful for, you're actually focusing on what's good. You're actually focusing on happiness.
Exactly.
And when you focus on something, it enlarges, it grows instantaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And so these are things that you learn, and you learn about setting your intention for the day.
Mm-hmm. My
Why do
favorite
you need
one.
to set an
Mm-hmm.
it's such a small thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so important. And I then explain to you, okay, what does setting an intention mean?
Mm-hmm.
It simply means being specific on what it is that how you want to present yourself in that day.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to be, because I don't believe we all wake up thinking, I want to have a bad day and I want to piss off
Absolutely
everybody.
no one wakes up like that.
Exactly.
No.
But if you let other people influence you,
It
that's
might
what
happen.
happens. When you set your intention, it doesn't matter what happens after that. When your intention today is, you know what, today I just want to be able to focus on this project that I'm working on, and I want to focus on my kids because something is happening today with them, or I just want to be able to smile at the end of the day and smile through today. And that's my intention. And whatever happens, you just, in the back of your head, you're like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's
You
not my
stay in your
intention.
line, I will be in mine.
I have my focus. I have my lane. And the more you do that, the more you teach yourself, the more you learn how to focus, the bigger the intentions become, and the better it becomes. And it's what I love is life can be so much more when you know how much you can play with it. That you are the creator
so
of it.
beautiful when you know to play with it. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what it is. We think that it's the circumstances that happen. No,
But
it's how
no.
you respond to it. And if you set your pure intentions, it doesn't matter what happens. Because of your intention, it will be fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So these are the things we're learning. And then most importantly, you start finding out and you explore your values. Values meaning what is important to you. Because if we don't realize that every single day, we only do what is important for us. We only focus on that. But we don't think that it is we think maybe I'm just doing a list, but you will only put effort in what is important to you. Now imagine now you're able to write it down and realize and say, you know what, I spend a lot of time in my room painting or drawing, or I spend a lot of time online reading about a certain topic. I have a lot of knowledge about this. Why don't I do something with that? You start understanding what is important to you. Explore those values. Find out what that is. What can you do with them? And then we talk about limiting beliefs. I mean, there's so much we go through here. We talk about getting out of your comfort zone, which is the only space of growth. I only grew when I got out of my comfort zone. I didn't even realize I was in a comfort zone. and this is what you do. It's
It's
true,
it's
right?
so real.
You
Yeah,
don't.
it's absolutely
You
true.
don't
Mhm,
realize.
mhm,
And this is what happens. I start asking you questions, and then you will discover, oh, so that was my comfort zone.
mhm,
And then we go to the next step. How can you get out of that comfort zone? And what can I do as I get out of that comfort zone?
mhm,
And so it's like I'm giving you tools, tool after tool after tool, to understand you, to create this amazing foundation
mhm,
where after that, at
mhm,
the end of it, you can now decide what your goal and what your purpose is. Because now you have a better understanding of what that authentic self is. And creating goals
mhm,
in that space
mhm.
are the goals you're actually going to reach.
Exactly.
Because sometimes we just in the beginning of the year, we say, you know what, I just want to make 100,000 euros this
Mhm,
year, or
mhm.
I just want to build a house, or I just want to become an entrepreneur. But that's not the goal,
No.
because that's not who you are. But once you understand, you know what, really, what I really want to do is, I want to, as you said, like helping businesses, helping people become better versions of themselves, or I want to create a product that can support other people.
Mhm,
And when that is your goal,
mhm.
everything else anyway lines up, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
purposeful goals. And this is what the book does. So you're not journaling just to write stories.
Mhm,
You're journaling so that you can understand and so that you can grow. So it has
mhm.
a purpose and it has its own goal.
I absolutely love it. You mentioned all of my favorite topics. You know, I'm personal growth junkie. I
Exactly.
adore that. And discovering my core values was incredible journey. And I'm perfectly crystal clear about that. I even went on
Mhm.
hypnotherapy about my limiting beliefs and everything that you mentioned,
Wow.
like my day becomes with a gratitude journal where I actually place my intentions for that day. And you know what? Sometimes if I don't do that, they can get messy. Really. And that's okay.
Yes.
Sometimes it's okay. But most of
Yeah.
the time, when we
Yeah.
know who we truly are, what we truly do, and why, you know,
Yeah.
behind every
Yeah.
mission is really a sole purpose. And if we walk that path, we will never regret when we look back. And that's the most beautiful thing. And I
Yeah.
always say, if I,
I love that.
whatever happens, when I look back, I did everything I wished for and I don't regret anything. You know, it's the most beautiful thing. And when you write it down and see actually everything you did or
Yes.
everything you are, that's the most beautiful gift you can give to yourself. So thank you so much for creating
Absolutely.
this masterpiece. I will say it that way
Thank
because
you.
I know how powerful it is because I've been doing that like for a decade. And it's truly,
Yeah.
truly amazing. It takes time, but it's so worth it and it's
Yes.
so magical when you get there. So, yeah, thank you
Absolutely.
so, so much. Now we're going to have some fun. You know that.
Yes. I can't wait. This
like
is
we
gonna be
did like
interesting.
we didn't until now. I enjoy spending time with you, but we will
Thank
now
you.
make few quick questions and you have like 10 seconds to answer to me and you will hear this
Okay.
gentle sound when the time is up.
Wonderful.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm
Always.
ready.
What's your favorite book?
The Four Agreements by Don Miguel.
Oh, one of my favorites too. I will not even I will not even say more. It's such a simple, practical book, and it gives you so much value when you realize, really things work that way. And then
Exactly.
everything is so much easier. Thank you for sharing that, actually. I read it
Yeah.
fourth time
Thank
this
you.
year. So from time to
Me
time, I go
too.
back. That's it. I go back.
Yes. You have to, and every time you go back, you learn something new.
Yes,
That's what's so amazing.
yes.
I love
Um,
it. Everybody should read it.
absolutely, absolutely. What do you like to do in your spare time?
Honestly, cooking.
My mom was a professional chef.
Oh,
So,
really?
yes, that's one
I
of my
do.
favorite things too.
I do. I love cooking because one, I didn't know I was creative. I
Mhm.
always thought I was not a creative. I left that to my sister. She's the creative one. So sometimes you think, oh, that's a creative one. I'm not, or whatever. But when I
Mhm.
cook, things just my son is always like, could you make the same thing today? When you make it next time, I'm like, sorry, I
No.
don't have a
No,
recipe.
the
I
same with
just,
me.
it's the feeling that came with it. So if I feel like that, maybe. If I don't, I'm sorry.
It's the same, and it's never the same. Like, uh,
It's never the same.
it's always a new
I
experience.
try. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, but that's a nice thing, actually. Even if
I
you
think
prepare
so
something,
too.
the same meal, it's different. So, yeah. What would be your advice for someone on a personal growth path? Let's say they are, I don't know, maybe starting when they're in the middle. Where the focus should go?
Okay, so I'll tell them two things. I'll tell them it's not going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because the reason for doing this work
Mm-hmm.
is that you want to figure things out, and to figure things out, you're going to get into the dirt of what's going on, which is the real stuff. That's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to go there, because
Mm-hmm.
once you go there and you shed light on what's happening, then there's only a brilliant bright light at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to go there.
You have to
It's
go
a
deep.
journey, and do not, there is nothing to be afraid of, because anything can be worked out, as
Mm-hmm.
long as you feel that you deserve to
Mm-hmm.
figure yourself out, you deserve to find yourself and to figure your happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Keep on that journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I would also say the moments when you get afraid are the moments when now you need to stay there,
Mm-hmm.
and now you need to walk through it, because I promise you on the other side is
Yes.
an amazing celebration waiting for you.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep going. It's a journey. It may be difficult in the beginning, but
Mm-hmm.
after that you're going to have so much fun. You're going to
Thank you
enjoy
so
being
much for
yourself.
sharing this, because today, when we record this, it's actually World Mental Health Day. And I published a video about fear being our supporter, actually.
Mm.
And that's exactly the point which you just placed. When we understand that fear is there to support us, to show us the way, we need to go through that, because the blessing is waiting on the other side. I didn't like click this button because what you were saying was very important.
Oh, I forgot it's 10 seconds.
No,
Yes.
no, this was gold. This was truly gold, because
Yeah.
people struggle. I was
Yeah.
struggling when I started personal growth journey. It's like, what am I doing? Why I'm doing this to myself? And then when you
Yeah.
rediscover yourself, the path to
Yes.
the stars leads back to yourself. So,
Yes.
right?
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. That's a beautiful way
So
to
tell
put
me,
it.
Lau,
Absolutely.
when people want to reach out to you or find you or work with you, where they can find you?
So you will find me. I have a website,
Mm-hmm.
CeriSamvilian.com.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Instagram, also Ceri Samvilian, Facebook, and on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So feel free to go on online on these websites, or come and DM me if you have a question about journaling, if you have a question about coaching,
Mm-hmm.
and I will be very happy to. Or just have a conversation about what your journey is in finding yourself, and we can talk about it. I love having conversations.
And you're such an angel. I always like to chat with you. And as I mentioned, your
Thank
hair
you.
is amazing. Like I'm like
Thank you.
completely like it's amazing. And you truly are sunshine. And I want to thank you for joining me here and for sharing your story and for helping so many people. And it truly was my pleasure. And I hope you enjoyed too.
I really did. Thank you so much for having me, Catherine. I appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.